to be presenting the first BAFTA of the night for a vital part of movie making.
We're here to celebrate the artists who expand what's possible on screen.
You may have heard some strong and offensive language tonight. If you've seen the film I Swear, you will know that film is about the experience of a person with Tourette syndrome. Tourette syndrome is a disability, and the tics you've heard tonight are involuntary, which means the person who has Tourette syndrome has no control over their language. We apologise if you were offended.
Yeah, good morning, George. The movie I Swear won big at last night's BAFTAs. Its lead, Robert Aramayo, won Best Actor over favourite Timothy Chalamet. It's based on the life of Tourette's campaigner John Davidson, who was there for the awards, but his involuntary tics are making the headlines this morning. What should have been Britain's big night to celebrate art and culture, with royalty mixing with the Hollywood elite, instead is mired in controversy this morning. The BBC apologising to BAFTA viewers after several obscene outbursts from Tourette's activist John Davidson were heard on a broadcast. Davidson is the inspiration for the movie I Swear, which was nominated for 6 awards and took home the leading actor BAFTA. He was diagnosed with Tourette's syndrome at the age of 12. It's a neurological condition that can cause involuntary movements and vocal tics, sometimes involving outbursts of inappropriate language. One such outburst heard on the broadcast was while Sinners stars Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were on stage.
Delroy and I are delighted to be presenting the first BAFTA of the night for a vital part of movie making.
A racial slur could be heard while the men presented the award for Best Visual Effects. Jordan and Lindo looked startled, but continued on. Host Alan Cumming later asking the audience for their understanding.
You may have heard some strong and offensive language tonight. Tourette syndrome is a disability, and the tics you've heard tonight are involuntary, which means the person who has Tourette syndrome has no control over their language. We apologise if you were offended.
So the big question this morning, why did these outbursts remain on the broadcast when other parts of the event were cut, like the words of one award winner who said "Free Palestine," especially when you think that there was a 2-hour delay on this broadcast. The BBC has this morning issued a statement apologising that Davidson's comments were not edited out ahead of the broadcast, and they say they will now be cut from the online version and on streaming. You've got to feel for Davidson. He must have been very embarrassed by all this. He left the event, it's thought, early, halfway through, it's thought, guys.
Yeah, the BBC should have caught that.
Should have caught that.
And he left on his own. He wasn't asked to leave, but he knew it was best to leave. But you had so much time to edit out those remarks.
And the guys handled it well. The guys on stage kept moving through okay.
Delroy and I are delighted to be presenting the first BAFTA of the night for a vital part of movie making.
We're here to...
Can y'all believe that? It's Black American History Month, and Michael B. Jordan and Delroy was called that word. Now, the person who called them this word have Tourette's, John Davidson. Now, this is a video of him 4 months ago. Check this out. This is a video of him.
It's very hard because if you're standing out there and you shout out the N word or the P word and someone's walking past, they're going to think you're just being rude or racist.
I mean, in the past, I've been arrested by the police because I've shouted pigs or I've said a swear word when the police have been around. To see the police in any other places, I've never had... They've came across and said, hey, can you watch the language? I say, I'm sorry, I've got Tourette's. They know about Tourette's now, which is a good thing. Previously, I'd have been arms up the back.
So that was him breaking down how the tics work, the Tourette's work. You see a group of officers, PIG, you call them that. Somewhere in the video, he also talked about loud noise where he'll say the F word because the noises are loud. So in this case, you happen to see 2 black presenters, black men presenting these awards, and that's the word that comes. That triggers that tick for that specific word, right? But he apologized to the police officers. Y'all heard that. He apologized to the police officers, but he hadn't apologized to Michael B. Jordan or Delroy. So is it a combination of both the R word and the tics? Because you just happen to see 2 black guys, and that's the word that comes to mind. Mind you, there was all kinds of different race of people, ethnicities at this particular awards. There was Asian people here. I want to say there was some Hispanic people here. And none of those words came out. But yeah, let me know. Is it tics? Is it a combination of both? And where's the apology at?
I thought I was done talking about this for the night, but this situation has gotten so much worse. Hannah Beachler, who's the production designer on Sinners, who was at the BAFTAs tonight, has confirmed that the incident regarding the slur with John Davidson was not the only occurrence. She posted this thread onto Twitter. I keep trying to write about what happened at the BAFTAs, and I can't find the words. The situation is almost impossible, but it happened 3 times that night. And one of the 3 times was directed at myself on the way to dinner after the show. And a 3rd time at a Black woman. I understand and deeply know why this is an impossible situation. I know we must handle this with grace and continue to push through. But what made the situation worse was the throwaway apology of if you were offended at the end of the show. Of course we're offended, but our frequency and our spiritual vibration is tuned to a higher level than what happened. I am not steel. This did not bounce off me, but I exist above it. It can't take away from who I am as an artist. I genuinely hate this for the entire Sinners team. The fact that they were subjected to this on and off camera is just abhorrent, and the BAFTAs need to post a public apology, as well as John Davidson, because you have half of the internet and damn near the whole country of Europe, because you have half the internet and damn near the whole UK calling Black people ableist for not being okay with racism. The fact that this happened multiple times to the Black people of this film is not okay. And I don't want to hear any excuses.
All right. So on Sunday, February 22nd, at the BAFTA Awards, Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were presenting an award for Best Visual Effects when John Davidson shouted the N-word at them. John was diagnosed at 12 or 25 years old with Tourette syndrome. The host of the show had to apologize for Davidson's outburst. Now this is what they claim. They claim that John left the show halfway through because of the outburst. They said that John was yelling, "Boo, F, shut up," all this stuff during the show. So they said that the audience was informed of his Tourette's before the show began, but no one was prepared for him calling these 2 men the N-word. So now, here's what's strange. The people who were in charge of the editing, because it was not live, it was pre-recorded. They did not blur out the N-word. They let the N-word stay in the show for 15 hours before they blurted it out. But they blurred out Free Palestine at the end of Anokia Davis Jr.'s speech, and someone else's speech. They blurred out certain words, but they didn't blur out the N-word. And this John, he put out a statement. I'm not gonna read it. He didn't basically. All in all, the statement was basically, I'm not apologizing. Basically, he just didn't apologize at all to these 2 men, which he said the N-word. And yes, tics are involuntary, but in my personal life, or watching other people with tics, they never say the N-word, especially with the ER at the end. Okay. So this was I honestly think it was racism, because if it wasn't, I think he would have stayed and apologized to these two young men. And some other people came out and said that he said the N word to them, right? So this wasn't a one off thing. So that's why I'm guessing this was pure racism. But hell, it may not be. Who knows? But this is sad. Very, very sad. But hell, what do I know? I'm just a talking head.
Got this tea. Okay, so grab your cups, let's talk. So BBC is currently facing backlash after they failed to edit out a incident that occurred at the BAFTA Awards yesterday. Tourette's campaigner John Davison shouted the N-word while Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were on stage presenting. That despicable moment was brought to you by a guest at the ceremony, John Davison, who is a Scottish campaigner for people with Tourette's. Apparently, he inspired a film called I Swear that was nominated in a few categories, and they actually won 2 BAFTA awards, including Best Actor. Now, the host of the BAFTA awards did apologize for apparently several outbursts that had come from John Davison throughout the program. Now, BBC is facing backlash because they failed to edit out that moment, not even beeping out the word. So much so this morning that they had to issue an apology saying in part, some viewers may have heard strong and offensive language during the BAFTA Film Awards. This arose from involuntary verbal tics associated with Tourette syndrome. And as explained during the ceremony, it was not intentional. We apologize that this was not edited out prior to the broadcast, and it will be removed from the version on BBC iPlayer. So BBC has apologized and they have edited that part out. But in my opinion, it's too little, too late, especially reading your apology, knowing BBC that you had an opportunity to edit that part out and you chose not to do so. I'm not sure what your angle was, but that was your opportunity to protect Black people. And you chose not to do that for whatever reason. You know, as a true millennial who watched True Life, I Have Tourette's. I learned about that a long time ago. I understand that that syndrome, these people say a lot of things. They do a lot of things. They say stuff and do stuff. But when you have an opportunity to censor out racism, I think that you should take that. Take that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that you should air it for the world to see, to raise awareness about Tourette's. Because if you know anything about Tourette's, you know that these people say some outlandish and crazy shit. And I just don't think that racism should be used to raise awareness about it. But y'all put your thoughts in the comments. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's ableist if they edit it out. I don't think so. But I want to know what y'all.
Hold on, Balin. Wind it up. She got Tourette's. I've been following her for a long time. You're done. You remember her? Yeah. I've never heard her say the N-word. Now, I don't know if it's been edited out because it is a slip. But the hard ER at a public function when 2 Black men are on the stage no, I don't like that. And I don't like that. During Black History Month. But here's the thing. And even if it was a valid tic, do you not realize that it is connected to a thought, right? There's no control over what's coming out of your mouth, right? So if he's thinking it, it's coming out regardless. So you're thinking that these men are, you know what I'm saying? And you're saying it. Oh, I'm sorry, I had no control over it. But that is a word that you're comfortable using. And we can't make excuses. I know that this man has a disability. Cool. Yes. But he is in spaces with people that are being called... Y'all, we're not overreacting. We're not overreacting.